Very good morning, everyone. In this lecture, I am going to present about semiconducting materials. In semiconducting materials, in our class, we are going to discuss about intrinsic semiconductors and extrinsic semiconductors. In the extrinsic semiconductors, we have two topics, N-type and P-type semiconductors. So this is all that we have in this lecture. The first one is semiconductors. What are semiconductors? So in the solids, especially the forbidden energy gap between valency band to the conduction band is in the order of 1 electron volts, then we can call it as a semiconductor. Normally in semiconductors, the conduction is not possible. That is, the electrons cannot move from valency band to conduction band at lower temperatures. But at higher temperatures, here it is possible, or with an external assistance, it is possible. So based on the type of assistance, the semiconductors are classified into two types: intrinsic semiconductors and extrinsic semiconductors. Intrinsic semiconductors, or otherwise we normally call them as a pure semiconductors, they work on the basis of thermal resistance. Extrinsic semiconductors work on basis of impurity resistance. So we'll discuss one by one here what are intrinsic and what are extrinsic. The first one is intrinsic semiconductor. These semiconductors are otherwise called pure semiconductors. The examples are silicon and germanium. They are defined as these semiconductors are the solids. They are insulators at 0° Kelvin or lower temperatures, or conductors at elevated temperatures. So these are the electron volt forbidden energy gaps for silicon and germanium. Silicon is 1.1 electron volts and germanium is 0.72 electron volts. So when we just observe the silicon at absolute 0° Kelvin, all the silicon atoms are covalently bonded to each other. So at this room temperature, electrons are tightly bonded. So there is no free electron to move. So there is no conduction. But when temperature is provided, then what will happen? The covalent bond will break, and which produces free electrons. Thereby, these free electrons will conduct. So this is the view. This is the view. The silicon have 4 valency electrons. And in a covalent bond, what will happen? They are tightly packed. Each silicon is surrounded by another silicon atom. And each valency electron is bonded with another valency electron of another silicon atom. So 4 valency silicon electrons will bonded with 4 silicon atoms like this. And they are tightly bonded. Suppose you want to release a free electron, then you have to break the covalent bond. How to break the covalent bond? By thermal assistance. Here we are providing a thermal assistance. Heat it. Then what will happen? The bond between the electrons, the covalent bond between the silicon atoms will break, the tightly bonded electrons will be loosened, and the electron will move to the interstitial portion and it becomes free, and it is a free electron now. This free electron allows the conduction process. Normally, how the conduction is possible? When electron is moving, it releases a hole at the place, at that particular site. So then what will happen? The neighboring electron will move here and releases a another hole. So this electron move here and releases a hole. This electron move here and releases a hole. So the movement of electrons will normally possible in throughout the covalent bond. So this makes the conduction. On the application of thermal energy, here the movement is possible. So that's why at lower temperatures they are acting as an insulators, but at elevated temperatures they act as conductors. The same that we can explain even in the presence of a band theory also. What is the band theory is explaining? Band theory is explaining the conduction is possible only when electrons moves from valency band to conduction band. So at lower temperatures, as far as the semiconductor soul is, the potential energy of the electron is not sufficient to move from valency band to conduction band. So if the potential energy is not sufficient, then you have to provide an extra energy. How you can provide? Thermal energy. When your temperature increases, kinetic energy of the electron increases. This kinetic energy can able to surpass the barrier, the valency band to conduction band, the forbidden energy gap. So that's why it surpasses this forbidden energy and causes the conduction. More the temperature is giving, more the electrical conductivity that we normally witness in the semiconductors. So that's why conduction is increasing, then the electron migration will normally increase. That we can visualize here in this band theory diagrams. There are two bands that we have, valency band and conduction band. The electrons will be available in the valency band, and a thermal energy is possible because here the band energy gap is very high. The potential energy of these electrons cannot allow the migration of electrons to the conduction band. But when thermal energy is given, then what will happen? It will increase the kinetic energy of these electrons. So when thermal energy is given, these electrons try to move to the conduction band. Once electrons are moved here, they releases holes. So the next electrons come over here. In this way, the conduction is a continuous process. So this is due to kinetic energy. This is due to temperature. So that's why band theory is also successfully explaining the conduction is possible only in semiconductors at elevated temperatures, but at lower temperatures, they are completely insulators. These extrinsic semiconductors, these are also called impure semiconductors. So to the intrinsic semiconductors, externally small amount of impurities are added. These are the doping agents. The forbidden energy gap gets reduced due to the creation of a new energy level between valency band and conduction band. Here what we normally understand is the doping agent will create a new energy level between valency band and conduction band, which makes the electron flow easy from valency band to conduction band. Thereby, the conductivity increases 10,000 times. So, based on the doping agent, the extrinsic semiconductors are classified into two types. N-type and P-type semiconductors. So take an example of an N-type semiconductor. So this is possible only when you are introduced a pentavalent impurity such as arsenic in the pure silicon or germanium crystal. Then we normally call it as a N-type semiconductor. What are N-type semiconductors? Look at the two-dimensional figures here. So in the place of a germanium, we have substituted a arsenic here. And we all know that it has a 5 electrons. So the extra electron will be present here. So this extra electron creates a new energy level between valency band and the conduction band. This we normally call it as a donor level. This we normally see in animation process. This is what the covalent bond that we just earlier seen. This is the silicon atom, and this is example for N-type semiconductors. What are N-type semiconductors? What are N-type semiconductors? We normally call them as, these are the mesotic carriers. The electrons will carry the current. Suppose when the silicon is replaced here, silicon is replaced with the pentavalent arsenic, then what will happen? It has a 5 electrons. Four electrons are completely bonded with 4 silicon other atoms. That the 5th one is becoming a free electron. So due to the substitution of arsenic impurity in the silicon crystal, it is creating an extra electron. This makes it possible of conducting the current in the semiconductor. So that's why the existence of an impurity creating an electron and making the movement of the electron. So that's why we normally call it as the mesotic charge carriers are electrons. So that's why negatively charged carriers. So that's why we can call it as a N-type semiconductor. So that we can explain in the help of band theory also. And we are all know that there are 2 types of bands, a valency band and a conduction band. The one is introduced due to the free electron. A new energy level will be formed in between the valency band and a conduction band. So this new energy level, that we normally call it as a donor level. This is called a donor level. So it normally, what is a donor level? Which gives the electrons. That means all these free electrons will present in this donor level. So these are the electrons. What will happen? Due to conduction process, these electrons are very near to the conduction band. So that's why we need not require any much energy to allow the movement of electrons from donor level to conduction band. With a little gap, they can easily move to the conduction band and process the conduction. Once the electrons are moved here, and they normally release the holes here in the donor level. So this is where the conduction that we normally see in the N-type semiconductor. Then what will be in the case of a P-type semiconductor? P-type semiconductor. What is a P-type semiconductor? If a trivalent impurity, third group impurities like boron, gallium or indium, when you are substituted in a semiconducting crystal, whether it is a germanium or a silicon, then it will result a P-type semiconductor. So have a look in the 2-dimensional figure. The germanium is replaced with a boron. Here it has only 3 outermost electrons. So that's why they normally bond 3 outermost electrons of a germanium. But the 4th one, it is not having an electron. It has a hole. So that's why a hole is bonded here with the 4th valency of the another germanium. So that's why this is the bond. But it has a holes. They are lesser energy. That is the reason when an energy level is created in the valency band to the conduction band, this lower energy level will be formed near to the valency band, and it is an empty band. So that's why this we normally call it as a acceptor level. This allows the acceptance of electrons that we can visualize here in animation process. This is a covalent bond formation. Earlier we have seen this is the silicon atom. This is an example for a p-type semiconductor. So that's why the silicon is replaced with a third group element. Let it be a gallium, but it has only 4 electrons, 3 electrons only. So that's why we can see that the 3 electrons are bonded with 3 silicon atoms, and the fourth one we normally have a hole. This will be covalently bonded with a silicon. So it has a hole. That's the reason this hole will allow the migration of the other neighboring electrons into it. So this electron will now move to this particular hole. A hole will be created here. So this electron moves to here, hole will be created here. This electron moves to here, hole will be created here. Like that, when you are observing, it looks like the hole is migrating from one end to the other end. So that's why we normally say that here the majority charge carriers are holes. So that's why a positively charged holes will carry the current. So that's why we normally call it as a p-type semiconductor. That we can visualize in the band theory also. This is what the band theory is. There are 2 bands, valency band and conduction band. Due to this hole, a new energy level is created here above the valency band, because this is a lower energy level. This is normally called it as an acceptor level. It is an empty band. It is an empty band. So now it can act as a conduction band. Already electrons will be there in the valence band like this. Now, without any further thermal assistance, because the energy gap is very less, the electrons can move from valence band to conduction band and make the conduction process easy. So that's why the creation of either the acceptor level in the p-type or donor level in the n-type, this makes the conduction is easy. And these levels are formed due to the addition of a dopant. So the dopant plays a more important role in making the conduction process in semiconductors. These dopants create a new energy level in between valency band and conduction band. Thereby, they reduce the forbidden energy gap. Thereby, they allow the movement of electrons from the electrons to the next, the vacant orbitals. So this allows the process of conduction. This is all that we normally see. Can easily move, and electrons when moved, holes will be created. These holes will act as empty shells, then allow further electrons. So this is what everything. So thank you, friends. Thank you very much. This is what about the semiconducting materials. Thank you.